Hey guys, welcome back to the Dreams to Reality podcast. We're here with another episode for you guys. Hope you guys are excited. Thankfully and gratefully, we have a new host here with us today, Jabril. Can we get a round of applause for him, guys? Thank you, Jabril. Welcome. And then we also have a special guest for you guys here today. This is David. David is a local entrepreneur here in Minneapolis. He's an up-and-coming app developer, and he hopes to share his insights with you guys and us about the process of app development and his background. So thank you, David, for joining us here today. It's an honor to have you, man.
It's a pleasure to be on here.
That's good to hear that. Awesome. Quick background on yourself. Can you share a little bit of your information from sort of just the early years of your life?
So I was actually born in South Sudan, and I came here when I was quite young. And then after that, we moved to Bloomington, and that's kind of where I grew up. I was there for quite some time, and I went to elementary school and everything over there. Then after that, I went to middle school in actually Richfield.
Yes,
so I was in Richfield for a few years, and then after that, I went back to Bloomington, and then after that, I went back to Richfield again, and I was at Holy Angels.
It's a world tour, huh?
It's like a back and forth,
That's hilarious, man. So to get a little bit more information about that, your overall experience as far as education and stuff. So were you born here in the States?
I was not. I was actually born in Khartoum.
Okay. Oh, in South Sudan. You just said that. Yeah. I did miss that.
So
I definitely did miss that. But so as far as your schooling, your early schooling, especially, K through 12, tell us a little bit about, the type of person that you were, especially in middle schools, when you can remember, as far as you can remember.
Yeah, so in middle school, I was kind of I was a big football head. I like to play football a lot, but I was kind of a little hectic,
Okay.
What position?
In middle school, it's crazy, bro. I used to play running back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played the same position, man, in high school, but I was more bench than playing. But it's all good. No animosities here. But so then you're playing running back. You go into high school, right? And I'm assuming you were serious about football at that time, or what?
Yeah,
what was the case?
I was very serious.
Okay, and what did you see football bringing to your life, as far as how far did you see yourself going with football?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I thought I was going to the league. That was my goal. I wanted to go to the NFL.
Yo, that's dope, man. The belief is where it starts, right? For all of us, I feel like whether it's a dream or a goal, sometimes it could be the same thing, but usually it starts with that vision and just going for it, right? So at what point in your life were you okay, so I'm interested in football, I'm going to pursue it, in a way where it can be my your life after high school?
Yeah, so it's sophomore year. So after sophomore year, that's kind of when everybody transitions into varsity. And I'm like, whoa, there's actually people out here playing college ball. And after college, that's usually when people either make it to the league or not, So I'm like, let's do this, you know what I mean? So that's when I kind of started taking it more seriously.
Okay. That's dope, man. So as somebody who played football, right? Did you guys also play any sports in high school at all?
Soccer.
I ran.
Run, Forrest, run. But that's dope. So what was that experience like for you? As far as, being involved in sports in high school?
Well, for me, it was more so just a love of the sport.
Okay.
I didn't have any intentions to go professional.
Okay.
Just.
You look like you could have been a professional, though.
Oh, that's a stark contrast, though, right?
Yeah.
So this man over here is dedicating his entire existence after high school to football, right?
Yeah.
So did you see? So after that point, you realized that it was very competitive, right? Tell us more about that feeling, and then tell us about how your decisions after that were influenced by that moment.
Yeah, so junior year, that's when everything kicks off. That's when people start playing varsity. I didn't get that much playing time my junior year, and you need junior year to do kind of well senior year, because junior year leads up to your senior year, right? So the senior year came around, that's when I got my playing time, and thankfully I did what I had to do, and after that it allowed me to play at the next level. But yeah, it's very competitive, Everybody wants to start. Everybody wants to do well. Everybody wants to get their film so that they can play at the next level, and it's competitive.
What was that next level after that?
So yeah, the next level would be playing college ball.
And you did?
Yes, I did.
So tell us about that. Quick.
Yeah. So it was a process, right? So my senior year, it went decent. You know, I did well. And then after that, I was thankful enough, you know, University of Mary reached out, you know, and I was able to play football for them for 2 years.
Wow, that's dope. Yeah. So at this point, I'm assuming you're not playing running back anymore?
Nah.
Okay, so what position did you play in high school?
Yeah, so they switched me to corner.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense. A good one, though.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like that's a position that kind of seems like it suits him for his height and everything. What do you guys think? As far as
we're not experts, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we're all watching. We all watch
that. That's what I thought.
So,
I thought you were safe to a corner.
Yeah. So, okay. So then is that what you were looking to do in college? Was it that corner position, or were you changing positions, or were you playing both sides? What was the case?
Yeah. So when I wanted to play like at the next level, the biggest thing I just wanted to be a defensive back. You know.
Okay.
Whether it be safety or corner, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play. That was the biggest thing.
So it seems like you were more in love with the sport rather than you know. So the dedication came from love rather than anything else.
Yeah, I really liked it. You know, that was like the biggest thing I was like gravitated to. Like it kept me going. You know, like football was like my thing.
Yeah, it was your passion.
Like, I gotta go with this.
Yeah, so that's crazy, man. Because I played football in high school. Like I said, I was on the bench majority of the time, but we won't bring that up again. But listen, so I went to Richfield, you know, so I was a few years ahead of you. So pretty much when I played, I kind of did it for the purpose of just, you know, doing it for fun. But at the same time, I was really serious about football because I really wanted to get into a good school, right? But at the time, I was super skinny. I didn't fit that college level. You know what I mean? I could have went to maybe a D2, D3 school and rode the bench majority of the time like I did in high school. But that's not something that I was curious about or I wanted to do. So I decided not to pursue that, you know, going forward. But it seems like you had different goals and different aspirations as far as, you know, heading towards that stage, and you know that because football does come with a stage. It comes with a huge stage. So tell us, like, what were you able to learn from football that you feel like you brought to the rest of your life, like that helped you, you know?
Yeah, so like football itself is a lot of hard work, but when you play at like a college level, it's even more work. You know?
Okay.
Now you got to wake up early in the morning, lift, run. You know what I mean? Like you don't really got like time to. Oh, I'm really gonna chill. Nah. There's not that at all, and that helps out a lot. You know, that carries off to life. You know, it allowed me to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like the biggest thing, and it just keeps you going. You know, it builds your mind. You're like, I got to keep going because you can't quit.
Yeah.
You know, you got a whole team of brothers, you know what I mean? Like, you can't quit on them. So it's like it teaches you to, like, keep going no matter what. You know, and you can take that with you anywhere. You know, discipline and just the fact of, like, you can't quit because you have to keep going. And like if you keep that in mind, you can take that with you anywhere you go. You'll do well in life if you take that type of mindset with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely believe it. As far as like discipline, you know, like the position that you know discipline plays, or the you know the like where it fits into an individual's life when you're pursuing such a thing like football, or just in general in life. It's so important to feed the brain, you know what I mean? Strengthening the brain is just as important as anything else, just as important as your body, everything else that you could possibly do. So, and I feel like nowadays, one of the bigger issues that we see as far as, you know, mental health and things of those sorts is because of things like people are not they're not pushing themselves sometimes in sports and things of those sorts, because that does build your mind. It has some influence on you. It builds you to the point where you're able to withstand life's challenges. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like, you know, there's any, you know, relevance between mental illness and football, but I'm saying that's something that could possibly help.
There is this link there actually.
Yeah.
But we won't go there.
CTEs and stuff.
Yeah, it's a real thing. But yeah, you're very right, and I think that's very important. I mean, you realize this early on in your college years, right? And then, so what were you studying also at this time? I'm guessing at college were you just taking generals or?
Yeah, I was going to school for business.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. And did you know that going in? Did you know that like early on? Was there a time that you knew what you were gonna major in?
Yeah, I switched majors after my first year.
Okay, what were you
Oh,
before?
I was going to school for kinesiology.
Okay, and
Yeah.
due to football, I'm guessing, or sports.
Yeah, because it ties in right with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a
Kinesiology,
supplementary.
football. So like when the goal was, if whatever, if things didn't work out, I could bounce back and be like a trainer. You know what I mean? Or like a football doctor.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. And then what caused it to change?
So everything pretty much changed after, just like a few weeks in. I'm like, science really isn't what I like to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sit there, do science all day. I'm like, that's not me.
Oh, because you have to take a lot of science courses.
Yeah, I'm like, that's just not me. And then my advisor, she's a really good person. Her name is Christy. She's like, yo, David, I think you'd really be good at business. I'm like, let's just give it a try. You know what I mean? And then from there on out, I started going to school for business.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's dope. And you're graduating soon, right?
Yeah,
Okay. With the same degree, the
correct.
business degree. Okay. So like at this point you are doing you're doing college.
Yeah.
I'm assuming since you're still in school, you came up with the idea for the app while you were in school, right?
Yeah.
So what was like what clicked that idea, or what brought you to the point of, hey, I'm gonna pursue this adventure and try to build an app for the world, pretty much?
Yeah, so this is how it started off, right? So let's go back just a little bit. So
Yeah.
I was still in North Dakota during this time, right?
Yeah.
And boom, this was when I broke my legs. So I couldn't play football anymore. So I'm like, yo, I have to leave North Dakota. So I left North Dakota and I came to Mankato. And mind you, during this time period, like, I'm not playing football anymore. So I got like a lot of time on my hands. So I'm like, yo, I got to do something. You know what I mean? I got to do something. And then I realized that I had to come back to Mankato and live by myself. So that means I'd have to pay my car note, rent, food, et cetera, et cetera. I got to be able to take care of myself. And I'm like, yo, what kind of tools are out there for me to do this that's simple to use? Because everybody wants to make things super complicated. You know what I mean? I couldn't find anything. So I went ahead. I started taking care of my bills via notes. So I would just write down my bills on my notes, and every time I got it paid off, I'd cross it off. I'm like, yo, this is taking too much time. So boom, I went ahead and I moved that to Excel. And I'm like, yo, this is a bit easier because everything is like automated. You know what I mean? So I was able to do that. And then I kind of like made it look really good. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm at this stage, I'm like, wow, I could use this to help other people out. This is very fundamental, like very fundamental. I could use this to help people my age out, and perhaps people who are even older than me that don't really understand finance. I'm like, yo, I can just go ahead and just sell this Excel. But then I talked to an advisor, at my university. I show her my ID and everything, really good individual. You're like, nah, you can't do that. We got to turn this into an app or something. You know what I mean? And then pretty much, boom, that's when it clicked off.
Wow. Yeah, and like at this point, you're doing the business degree. You're looking at different business ideas, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And were there any other business ideas that you were looking at?
Yeah. So huge shout out to one of my roommates. His name is Elias. So I came up to him. I'm like, yo, let's start up this idea. It's similar to Uber, but it's with clothes. Right? Okay. We're gonna create an app that will allow you to get your clothes within minutes, and we're gonna call it last minute. Because let's say, you're walking around, you're just at home or whatever. You're like, oh, man, I need something. Go on our app. You can order whatever, any clothes, any shoes you want. We'll get it delivered to you within minutes. That's what we were going to do, but things didn't go as planned, so we kind of, we just kind of let that idea go.
Okay, and it makes sense why you might have decided to pursue fintech rather than, financial technology is something that's currently in. As somebody who's in technology myself, I have developed an app before as well. So I understand kind of the in and outs of developing an app and like what areas popping right now. And I know fintech is something that's extremely important. Everybody's trying to understand credit, not only credit, but their financials. What was I was reading a statistic somewhere that said that over 70% of Americans cannot afford $500 extra dollars on a monthly basis if something came up right now, which means a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And there's been many fintech apps that have come out, but there were none that were tailored to our community. And you being from South Sudan, being from East Africa, creating, or Africa in general, and creating such a thing for immigrants, for people back home in our community, other people that might not be in our community that want a simple app that does all the things that they need, right?
Yeah.
So I understand why you went to that route, and it definitely will pay off in the future. But as far as the inner workings of the app, and how did you, once you realized that you wanted to turn it into an app, and you sat down with your advisor, what did you do next? How did you proceed next?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we did was we created a business model. But before even that happened, when I kind of gave her the idea, I already had all my features and everything down. You know what I mean? So when I went to her, she pretty much helped me start it up. You know what I mean? So yeah, and yeah.
So when you say start up, was it more in just give you people to reach out to, or resources to obtain people to help you through the process, or what? How did she help you get started?
In a sense, so she pretty much gave me she pretty much helped me start the business models, because since I already had the idea and everything down, she pretty much told me the inner workings of building that business. So let's say if you wanted to create a business, I would tell you how to properly run it. What are the things you need to do behind that in order to get it going? So let's say if an investor were to come to you and wants to know more about your business, this is what you would give them. Yeah. And they will look through this to understand how well structured your business is.
It's like a business plan.
Yeah. Okay. And she helped me out with that. And that allowed me to kind of take it more serious, because it's a side that I haven't really seen. And a lot of people, they don't really focus on that end. They focus more on the product. But you got to understand that side of it, because that's how you really sell and understand who your customers are. You know what I mean?
Target audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe it, because even in order to get, investors, or what are they called? I forgot what they're called, the type of investors.
Angel investors.
Angel investors, or Y Coordinator. Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of Y Coordinator? It's run by Gary V. Gary V is a guy who he invested $300,000 into, was it Airbnb or Coinbase actually, and he made $3 billion from it. And what he does is, Y Coordinator is a corporation that exists. They invest in early companies that are coming out. They invested in Airbnb, Instacart, so a bunch of multi-vendor platforms, because that's what they're called. Those platforms that don't really provide anything, but what they do provide is a platform for people to do business with each other, just like Amazon and things of those sorts. So so as somebody who follows apps and things of those sorts, who followed that guy Gary V, who's very a prominent individual on YouTube. If you're somebody who's an inventor, I just want to, this is not a shameless plug at all. Gary V literally talks about A to Z what you can do when you're building an app, and how to build it, where to find investors, what kind of ideas are, the type of ideas that they're looking for right now, and what things that, the idea that you come up has to solve some sort of an issue, or provide some sort of a service that's completely different. But as long as it's something that's innovative, something that's new, something that's going to help humans progress, or, something that's even going to help us progress currently, on our daily lives and make things convenient, you can definitely follow Gary V, and you will definitely find advice on what to do as far as getting into the app industry. So now let's go from you getting your business plan, because that's what you're talking about, is really honing in on that business plan, putting your idea down on paper, detailing it so that people can understand it. That's how you even get investors. You got to have a business plan. So now that you did the business plan, as somebody who's didn't do any any kind of wasn't involved in any kind of technology, what was your next step? Because what I want people to understand is, you can build an app even if you're not in the tech industry. As long as you have a good idea, there are resources, there are people, there are places that you can go, like Fiverr. You know the website Fiverr. Have you guys heard of Fiverr before? At all? Yeah. It's pretty much a freelance platform that has all these individuals in it. You can find software engineers. You can find anything that you need on that platform. Reach out to them and get things going. So for you, how were you able to proceed from the business plan?
Yeah, so after the business plan, the biggest thing that I had to really focus in and hone in is I had my features. I had to make sure my features made sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I just kind of focused on.
So, and that's the UI UX part of designing an app, is the user interface part, and then the other one is pretty much just laying out your features and things of those sorts, right?
Yeah.
So that in itself is something that usually is like, in corporate is very complicated. But as an individual, if you're building an app from ground up, there's platforms online that you can go to, free platforms that you can actually start to build the app, put the features in, kind of create like a UI and a UX pretty much mixture, and then propose it to people that would better understand features, what features can go where, what's what can be accomplished as far as tech, you know what I mean, on the tech side. So then you get into designing. Was there somebody that was helping you? Was there any resources that you were following at this time? Or
yeah, in complete honesty, I use Fiverr. Like, a lot of people try to make this process seem very hard, and it's actually pretty easy and very simple. You just can't listen to like what everybody has to say.
Naysayers.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't listen to them at all, because like you just can't. You have to focus on yourself.
They don't see the vision.
Yeah, I use Fiverr. They did my UI UX. They also did my promo video, and they've done like my Facebook banner, like my logo. They did all of that, and it looks very nice. You know what I mean?
Is
I
this
did at an affordable price?
Quick question? Affordable price, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. Char's mentioned Fiverr many times, and I haven't used it myself, but I would definitely use it, and I understand that. But in terms of features and the development, after the UI and UX, I'm guessing it's like a demo of some sort. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then besides that, that's the point you're at. Like you're developing from that point on, and it makes a lot of sense, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So it like that just shows that with some sort of application or some sort of website or some sort of service, there really isn't like a deadline or like an end point with it, right? It's an ongoing change, it's ongoing updates, ongoing feature adds. So just starting at the beginning and just listing those off, I think and finding out it works and how the back end will work is a huge step. Congrats, man. That's big.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It is. It's huge to be able to accomplish such a thing without even being in that industry. Is is literally what it means to be a businessman. You know, you are what it means to be a businessman, to get it done no matter what. You know, whether there's no learning barrier at all. And I'm sure you've learned so much since you got into developing this app. Yeah. But before we get into the app features and some of the things that the app entails, I would like to know, was some part of that discipline that you created when you were in high school through football? Because you got to get up, 0 hour pretty much before school, right? Get your workout in, get your weightlifting in, do all that stuff. And then you go to school, and then you go to practice afterwards. So that discipline definitely, I'm sure it helped you, it propelled you forward in some sort of way when you were working on your app. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that helped out a lot. Having discipline helped out a lot. But the biggest thing is just having a vision, because there'd be times where I'd explain it, but you can't really grasp it because you can't see it. So that I'm like, man, I just got to make it so I can show you what I'm trying to show you.
Yeah.
You can't see what I'm trying to show you because it's not there yet. But if I make it and I show you, now it'll make sense. So having that vision and having that drive, I got to make this happen so you all can understand what I'm trying to tell you was my drive. You know what I mean? So it pretty much became like my new football. So I kind of used that as a transition to do better for myself. You know what I mean? So, and I just been kind of going at it from that end.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy. Because, as somebody who's created, I have also created an app, I got terrible feedback from people. They said that my my what's it called? My logo looked like a penis. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna blur that out. But it's a hilarious story. And I'll maybe add a clip of what the app that I made in there. So I designed an app. It was for creators, people that you know are creators, like you know Instagram, TikTok, all those different platforms. I created an app that used analytics to track how good those profiles were performing, because those people, they're being rated based on their profile. Your degree is your profile. You know what I mean? And when it comes to social media and things of those sorts. So I used Fiverr as well. I used to actually also offer gigs off Fiverr. So I had my own gigs, meaning that I would build people Shopify stores and things of those sorts the last year to make money, because trust me, Fiverr is a place where anybody can make money. And if as long as you have a skill that's unique to you, even designing UI and UXs, this guy, now that he's done his own app and then now that it's on the way, he can in the future, if he wanted to, design UI and UXs. And those positions in corporate pay 100 plus. None of them pay less than 100, you know, because it's so important at designing user interface. I forgot what the other one stood for, but just the overall
User
design.
experience.
Yeah, user experience, yeah. And in, you know, creating something that, you know, it's easy to understand throughout the globe, not only here, but also back home in Africa, back in South Sudan, you know, that's something that's extremely significant. So can you tell us a little bit about how long it took you creating these you know 2 designs, and what are some of the features that we're going to see in your app that's up and coming here? And by the way, the app's name is Pursue Finance. We posted a video about it, the promo video that he created on our page on Instagram. So please do go check that out, because it's going to be up. It's a dope promo, and David is definitely did something that's courageous here. So go ahead, though. Explain to us what features and things that are included on the app.
Yeah, so when it came to like building the features and stuff, like in terms of getting it done, it didn't take me that long, because I already kind of knew what I wanted. And growing up, I was on computers all the time, so like I just kind of understood how to like make it happen. So I kind of like made a rough draft of what I wanted it to look like, and then what I did was I sent it to this individual, and he got it to look a whole lot better. You know what I mean? He got to look like an app. You know, like wow, you know, it's an app. So he went ahead.
Wow, it's an app.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You couldn't believe it either.
I'm like, wow, I did this. You know what I mean?
That's good.
It didn't
bro.
take long. It didn't take long at all. That's what I'm trying to tell you all. You know, I'm young, and you can do this. You just can't listen to what people gotta say. It's so easy. Like all the tools are given to you, but yeah, you decide to look away. You know what I mean? And not take advantage of what's out there for the low. You know what I mean? But a good feature that we do have on there is we allow you to see how much money you're spending weekly. You know, if I were to go outside right now and ask somebody, do you know how much money you're spending weekly? I don't know. You know, do you know how much money you're spending monthly? I don't know. How much are your bills monthly? I don't know. Right? I remember I was on campus, right? I was doing a quick survey. I asked the individual, I'm like, so how are you taking care of your finances? I usually do the math in my head. That's not an answer. You know what I mean?
No,
or I
sir.
get a lot of, you know, I try to write it down, but I've done that. You got to be consistent with that. So it's like there's no really path out here that folks my age are doing. So I'm like, wow, what I'm doing can really help you out. You know what I mean? I always had that in the back of my mind, like, you know, like what I'm doing can help you out because you don't have a plan. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have a plan. And let me just go out there and throw out a quick fact. Did you know like 2/3 of Americans, they have a tough time scrounging up $1,000? 2/3 of Americans. So
I believe it, man.
You know, this is something that's a problem, and I feel as if I have a solution to help them out with that.
I feel like you got a game changer. Forget a solution. I feel like this is going to be able to propel people forward, especially students. Can you guys imagine, like, if he's, like, teamed up with universities like the U of M in helping people budget? Because y'all know how much, you know, U of M students, St. Thomas students, wherever it may be that, you know, a student comes from, they come with debt and things of those sorts. So imagine if they're able to manage that debt while they're in college, as well as their other finances, you know. And I feel like that's a big group that's vulnerable to not efficiently managing their income or their money or whatever they're getting. As somebody who also worked as a personal banker prior to, anything that I'm doing currently, I understand how dire it is, how dire that this is needed. You know, this is something that can change lives, can change the game for people for, you know, a long time to come. And for you to do that, it's something amazing, you know?
Yeah, sure. And we also got another feature on there for those individuals who are in school, right? You know, let's say we got this person who's in school and they took out a loan. You know, they took out a loan over a course of 4 years. They don't really know how much interest is being accumulated, right? So we got this feature on there that allows them to see that beforehand. And if you know how much interest is being accumulated beforehand, you will not take that loan, or you'll be smarter, you know, on where you want to go. So imagine if that individual knew that, or they get to see how much interest is being accumulated over time. Then that'll allow them to play their cards right while they're in school. You know, we got a bunch of other stuff too, but, you know, I got to keep that on the DL. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't give all the trade secrets away prior to the app coming out, yo.
Yeah, our biggest thing is we want to help people succeed financially. That's why we're called Pursuit Finance. You know, everybody's on a pursuit. And to be honest with all you know, you need money to pursue what you want to do. So that's why we call it Pursuit Finance.
Yeah. I know I'm using that app.
Yeah, it sounds like your app teaches you a lot about financial literacy, which is, you know, really important. So.
I think it's just the backtrack here. I think it's interesting that you kind of went the reversed like process of developing an app, right? Usually people have an app or some sort of project like set up first, and they want to sell, or they just don't understand the business portion of it, right? And then from that point, they'll develop a business plan and sort of find a target audience and then go after that market, right? And just handle the business tasks, right? You're going the opposite way, right? You started with the business plan, you started out with an idea, then you worked with your resources to then have it built out and then eventually deploy, right? Like it's just the reverse. You really it's a rarity that we hear about it nowadays, right? Most people are going the opposite way. So that's big, man. You're taking on the opposite side of the work. You're connecting the dots from your side, right? So that's big too, man. That takes a lot of courage, as Bashar was saying.
Yeah, most definitely, bro. It's like I said, it's a game changer. The reason why we brought you in here today, just alone, is for our communities to understand that this is not an industry that, you know, we're barricaded from. You know what I mean? So like the information is out here. The thing is, you know, sometimes it can seem like something that's too big for you to do. You know, it's sometimes, you know, your mind cannot comprehend, oh yeah, this is what you can do. But if you're out there and you have app ideas, or you have ideas in anything, it doesn't have to be only fintech, but anything that in the app industry is booming right now, you know. And I feel like our community, whether it's the Sudanese community, whether it's the Somali community, whether it's, you know, any other community, an immigrant community that's here, you know, that's new to the States, there's a lot of things that we think we might not be able to do because they're so different from what we have been able to do. Yeah. But, you know, you're being, you know, you're first generation or second generation immigrant?
First gen.
First gen. See, you're breaking barriers for you to understand this. And then because the first generation usually focuses on hard labor, you know, not the first generation, but I mean our parents, when they come, hard labor, because that's the jobs that they can kind of understand. It's simpler to, you know, navigate. And then us, we got to push the envelope to the ceiling. And you got to push the ceiling. Because if you do not try to touch the ceiling, because you're always going to be barricaded from whatever industry that that you could be in, right? And that's what fintech, for your community, I'm sure you're one of the first individuals to develop a fintech app that can actually assist them with their finances and, you know, help them go, you know, a lot further than they would have had if not for that app. So this whole idea and you bringing this whole idea together is amazing. Like I said, there are platforms like Fiverr, the one that you utilized. And how can you tell us a little bit about actually your experience with Fiverr and the resources that you use? Not only Fiverr, but any resource that you used. Was it simple to use it? Was it hard to use it? How did it go for you?
Yeah, so for me, the resources was easy to use because I knew what I wanted going into the game. You know, I wrote down what I needed. So all I did was I went and got it done. But you got to know what you want done. You can't just go on there and try to find something. You know what I mean? And you got to like you said earlier, you know, you got to play the game backwards in a sense. You know what I mean? And you can't just go in there blindly, because then you're gonna get stuff that isn't
Yeah.
But for me, it was pretty easy. Like I said, I knew what I wanted. I went on there and I got it. But like I understood what a UI UX is. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't even know what that is. You know? So I knew those type of things before I even touched Fiverr.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you kind of already, you did your research. You were like, okay, I'm going to find out what are the steps to creating an app. Because imagine if somebody like yourself came to Fiverr and said, okay, you typed up something and said, oh, yo, go create it. They would have created something crazy for you because they don't have the vision, you know?
Yeah.
But for you to actually figure out what you needed, then build the app pretty much, because that's what a UI UX is. You're doing $100,000 job, you know what I mean, right there, to create that and then give it to them and have the visual representation. Because sometimes that's the whole thing about people not understanding your app, is because until you get visual representation or you're able to put the final product in front of people, you should not listen to their advice, because they're gonna deter you from what you would have been doing otherwise, you know. So it's like, I think it's extremely important to do research in anything that you want to do, because that's the first step, you know what I mean. But let us hear more about how that development continued.
Yeah, and just to touch upon that, the biggest thing is, if you're gonna do an app or you want to pursue anything, it has to be your vision. Always remember that. You know? But like I said, the process was very easy. I went on there, I told them what I wanted, and I got exactly what I wanted. But before I even did that, like, I didn't just hit up somebody on there and I'm like, yo, make me something. No, I already had a mock-up of what I wanted, and I told them what colors I wanted or where I wanted this to go. I created like a whole PDF file of what I needed done, and then I sent it to them. You can't go in there blindly. You're going to lose. You know what I mean?
Yes,
you
sir.
gotta know what you want.
Yes, sir. I used to love people that didn't know what they wanted when I was, you know what I mean? When you do gigs for people, because then, like, if you don't understand what you want, I'm going to create something for you, and there you go. You know what I'm saying? At least I'm putting in my time and effort in creating something for you. But if you bring something, you know what I mean, to me, like visual representation of what you want. And in the app industry, that's extremely important. You have to have visual representation of what you want, right? I did the same thing. In fact, this is like last year, because I had, made a lot of money in the stock market when I was trading, right? And I was like, you know what? I had this idea. I'm going to go ahead and pursue it. And it's such a lovely idea. It's still, this is still in my bag. I have the UX designs for the app. Like I said, I will throw up the logo somewhere on this podcast, because I really want you guys to see what I was talking about earlier. But I did the same thing. I went, created the UI UX, sent it, got on Fiverr, told somebody to create a better UI UX designs for me so that I can get it back, change the colors. I wasn't as detail oriented as David was in his situation, but I had such a grand scheme and such a grand idea that, I was like, I'm not worried about the colors. What I will worry about is these features. If they can meet these features, then we can play around with the colors. You know what I'm saying? Because it was, it wasn't as detailed or as well thought out as your idea was, But my idea was simple: create a platform for influencers to be able to work. And it's still a very simple idea. And one day I really hope this idea comes out, because what I'm trying to do is, it's all about connecting people. You know what I'm saying? Brands, you know what I mean? Like restaurants, anything that you see around here, people need advertisement. And nowadays, advertisement is going into influencers. So I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to grab influencers. I'm going to grab brands. I'm going to put them in the same platform. I'm going to provide analytics, which is something that you do. You have taught me so much about what it means to, transport data from a spreadsheet or like an Excel into, you know what I mean, or into a database. You know what I'm saying? Or like vice versa, the other way around. You know what I mean? That's what you do, right?
Along the lines, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
Yeah, exactly. So something similar to that. Exactly. I don't understand your job completely. But yeah, pretty much. So it's so important, like, to be able to go out of your way and just go for it, bro. If you have a dream, if you have some sort of an aspiration, if there's something that you think that you are able to, gather up and, actually collect on, do it. Why not? It doesn't have to be something that has been done before, right? Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
That's true. That's
All you can do is grow from it. You know, you're gonna learn from it, and you can use that in anything that you do.
Yeah, and David, what is like? So, do you know when your app is gonna come out?
So yeah, we're giving it about 12 to 24 months. We want to make sure that everything is really thought out. We want to take our time with this. There's no need to rush anything, and we just want to play our cards right, because we know if we do it the right way, we'll be able to impact a lot of people, and that's the biggest thing. The more people you help out, that's a true win. It's a real game that's won.
Okay, and then as far as like when the app goes live, I know you're taking your time in the creation of the app. You want to make sure that you're able to put a finished product on the table. But as far as the debut and stuff like that, have you been thinking ahead as far as, this is how I want to debut it, this is how I want to grow year over year? Because you're going to need users to validate your app.
Yeah.
Once you have an app, you need people on there, and then that's how things go from that area. So have you thought about, are you doing any kind of thinking as far as what you want to do afterwards, how you want to bring it about, or like just give us a brief description? Obviously, we don't want to know the insights, keep that on the down.
Yeah. So when it comes to the debut, the biggest thing is, we want to make sure that everybody that's helped us along the way, is there. So, they've seen the process. That's the biggest thing that we want to do. And along the lines of the debut, a lot of beta testing will be done.
Yeah.
And those individuals that are helping us out with the beta test, we want to, we're going to take care of them. You know what I mean? We want to help them out as well. So when the debut does come, we just want to make sure that everyone that's helped us along the lines, we want to show support back to them. And we want them to be a part of it as well.
Yes, and we want to be a part of your new project. When the day that it does come out, I hope to see all three of us there at the debut.
You're already there. You don't even got to ask. You're there already.
Hell yeah, bro. I'm there, bro. I'm definitely.
You.
I want to use this app to help myself, right? Yeah, so pretty much to wrap up the episode, I want David to go ahead and shout his social media out. If you guys need help as far as like if you have an idea with an app or things of those sorts, you can reach out to me and David. I would definitely be more than willing to give anybody that's out there an insight on certain things, and I'm sure David would be willing to do the same as well.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, you can go ahead, follow me on Instagram at David Alimo _, and then you could also follow my business Pursuit Finance on Instagram as well. And we're also on Facebook.
We'll link below as well.
Dope. Thank you guys once again, everybody, including the hosts and the viewers as well. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.